Sean Davis has officially signed with the Washington Redskins. The Redskins have added a safety to their secondary after adding Kendall Fuller to their secondary. So Ron Rivera's secondary is shaping up, and this signing kind of makes a lot of sense. It's a low-risk, high-reward signing. Sean Davis is a player that a lot of athletic ability, has started for the Steelers for a couple of seasons, and has played a pretty large role for the Steelers for a couple of seasons. Didn't play a large one last year. He was hurt. He only played one game, and in that game he had 5 tackles. 2018, 2017, 2016, he started a minimum of 9 games. 9 games in 2016, 16 out of 16 in 2017, and 15 out of 15 in 2018. He was their starting safety for at least 2 out of the 3 seasons in Pittsburgh. So you're getting a starting caliber safety. He's not always lived up to that billing. He has his pros and his cons. I will say that he is, in his pros, very athletic, fast, can run, can hit, can tackle. His cons, not great in coverage, not the smartest safety in the world, but makes up for it sometimes with his ability in the open field to tackle, and just his athletic ability makes up for, being in the wrong position sometimes, because he can just make up for it physically. He had 92 tackles, which is a career high in 2017, 1.5 sacks in 2016, career high. And the last season he started was 2018, 7 passes defensed. He had 1 interception, 80 tackles. He had 3 interceptions in 2017. His snap counts. He played 97% of snaps in 2017, 94% in 2018, and 71 in his rookie season. Again, he's been a super important player for Pittsburgh, and I would say he's had his ups and his downs. If Ron Rivera can somehow coach him up and get his potential out of him, this is a really good, low-cost, low-term signing, and he'll just add to the depth, add to the rotation at safety. He could even be their starter at one of their safety spots. I would not be shocked if he ended up being their free safety, because he certainly, of course, has the experience. And if somehow he can show that he still has that ability, athletic ability specifically, in training camp, then we could see him get those snaps. At free safety right now, they have Apke, they have Everett, but nothing really set in stone for Washington, in my opinion. Landon Collins at strong safety is set in stone. At the very least, Davis will be a rotation guy who works into the secondary a little bit. But I do think this is worth the risk, and considering a guy that played over 94% of snaps for a defense, for any defense, is worth having on an NFL defense today. So, Sean Davis, for his ups and his downs, he still has potential, and I think he can make it work in Washington if Ron Rivera can coach the potential out of him. We knew that the Redskins would be in the market for signing a tackle who could potentially replace Trent Williams if Trent Williams decides to move on. And of course, Trent Williams has asked for a trade. He's likely to be gone. He's going to be elsewhere next season. And it sucks, but you need to think for the future. You need to think, who's going to replace him? Who's going to play left tackle next season if we need a guy in a pinch to start? And that guy could be Cornelius Lucas. Who is who? Like, you're thinking, like, who is this guy? Well, actually, he's a guy that's just coming into being a potential tackle in the NFL on a full-time basis. Cornelius Lucas last season for the Bears started 8 of 16 games, which is by far the most he's ever started. He kind of bounced around from Detroit to the Rams to the Saints as backup / just depth tackle type of role. And then at 28 years old, he's given an opportunity to play half the season for the Chicago Bears. And last season, he played 48% of the snaps. He did not get a single flag called him. Not a holding, not a false start, nothing. Not a single call on him. And PFF actually ranked him pretty highly. 29th at tackle, so that's a starting caliber tackle. That's a number 1 starting tackle in the NFL. So I think this move is interesting, but I actually like the value here. It's a move that kind of saves you. If Williams isn't going to play for you, he could step in, play left tackle, or right tackle, really. And really, I think this is just a move to add depth. Maybe you draft somebody and you have them compete with Lucas for the starting job. But overall, this is a player that I think snuck under the radar in the tackle market and potentially could be a diamond in the rough for the Redskins offensive line. I like this. Ron Rivera, typically his teams in Carolina have really kind of had come out of nowhere type of offensive linemen where they perform very well, and he's gotten the best out of a lot of guys on the offensive line who really aren't big names or high draft picks. And this could be the case again with Cornelius Lucas, where he just sees this talent and maybe the Redskins see something in him, saw the tape from last season, and they say, you know what, this guy can be a full-time starting tackle. So they're giving him the opportunity this season in 2020 to be that starting tackle in Washington potentially. So Cornelius Lucas to the Washington Redskins. Look out, he might be your starting tackle in 2020.